Welcome to Maldiv's 2015 Chicago Awards Gala. Tonight is brought to you by the generous support of Walmart. Save money, live better. Maldiv is grateful for the support of its national sponsors Anheuser-Busch, the Sidley Austin Foundation, Southwest Airlines, Toyota, Univision Communications. Maldiv is proud to honor Assistant Attorney General for the Office of Illinois, Cecilia Bundis, co-founder and Chief Executive Officer of the Resurrection Project, Raul Raimundo, and President and Chief Executive Officer of Mujeres Latinas en Acción, Maria Socorro Pesqueira. Please welcome your Master of Ceremonies for this evening, reporter and presenter of Noticias Univision Chicago, Enrique Rodriguez.
Buenas noches. I can hear you. Buenas noches. Let's see. Where are the porras for Mujeres Latinas en Acción? What about my beloved Resurrection Project? I'm a big fan, of course. And what about Cecilia Bundis fans? Oh my God. Welcome, buenas noches, to our 2015 Chicago Maldiv Awards Gala. I gotta tell you, before I go on, I want you to help me give a round of applause to Tom and the entire Maldiv team, because you know what? They brought the great weather to Chicago. I was telling Tom, thank you so much for bringing some vitamin D from LA. I really appreciate it. This is my 5th year as the MC of the gala, so thank you very much. It's an honor for me and for Univision to be part of such a wonderful event. We have a great lineup for you. We are honoring 3 great individuals that have done so much for our city and our communities, and I couldn't be more excited to be here to present the awards to them. What do you say we get started? Should we? All right, all right. Before we do that, please help me thank all the production crew from the Hyatt and all the waiters who are going to be helping us out this evening. Thank you so much for all your hard work. Now, as many of you already know, Maldiv was founded in 1968. Wow, Tom, I can't believe it. We're getting closer to that 50th anniversary. I hope we do something really, really special. And it was founded during one of America's darkest hours with the assassinations of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and Senator Robert Kennedy. And a ray of hope for the community, Maldiv sought to fulfill the critical needs for the nation's growing Latino community through litigation, advocacy, and leadership development on issues that affected children and newcomers. Now, Maldiv's victory in the historic voting rights case, and you might remember this, I'm sure you all know it, White versus Register, significantly raised the value of the Latino vote by safeguarding communities from large redistricting systems. And we all know what a challenge it is to get all our Latinos to vote during election time. Now, in another landmark case, Maldiv's attorneys successfully secure free public education for all school children, regardless of their parents' immigration status. As the, yeah, give it up, of course, give it up for Maldiv. And more important, as the Latino legal voice for civil rights in America, Maldiv has helped bring about significant gains in the area of civil rights in this country. But you will agree with me that we still have a long way to go. Isn't that right? That's right. And therefore, we are very grateful that we have Maldiv to fight in our courts to secure a better quality of life for all the Latinos throughout this wonderful country. Now, our program this evening will celebrate, as I was mentioning before, the careers and accomplishments of several amazing individuals who have dedicated themselves to safeguarding and expanding the civil rights of the Latino community. And you will see very shortly, I'm so excited about this, that we owe them a great deal for their selflessness and commitment to the communities they serve. So once again, let's give our 3 honorees a big round of applause. Absolutely. Do you want to know who is our first honoree? I don't hear you. Yes? Okay, I want to make it clear, this is in no particular order, okay? We love them all equally. Our Excellence in Legal Service Award recipient currently serves as the Assistant Attorney General in the Consumer Fraud Bureau of the Illinois Attorney General's Office. She has played, and I've witnessed this personally, a critical role in protecting community interests for the citizens of Chicago through her oversight of mortgage lending institutions, for-profit schools, immigration services providers, or notarios, como le llamamos nosotros, car dealerships, and mortgage brokers. Her impact, let there be no doubt, on the Latino community has been monumental, as she has used her expertise to provide critical information on various consumer protection issues via the Chicago Spanish language media, Univision included, of course. I had to tag the commercial, right? And in her role as Assistant Attorney General. Prior to joining the Illinois Attorney General's office, she worked for the Lawyers Committee for Better Housing, where she represented tenants and fair housing organizations who were victims of housing discrimination. She also co-authored the new Battleground Anti-Immigrant Ordinances Attack Housing Rights. And believe it or not, you might be wondering, is there anything that Cecilia Abundis doesn't do? Well, despite her full schedule, and I was just talking to her husband about this, she continues to serve the Chicago community in and outside of her job role as the mentor of law students with the National Latino Law Student Association, the Illinois Latino Law Students Association, and the Hispanic Lawyers Association of Illinois. Now, we have a very meaningful and special video that we'd like to present to you, and the people that you'll see in the video are individuals who were chosen by our honoree, Cecilia Abundis, to tell us a little bit about Cecilia, for those of you who need to know more about her. Okay, so I would like to ask you your undivided attention to the video that we're about to play.
There are very few people that you meet in your life that you immediately realize you're dealing with someone who's special, who's unique, and who's a trailblazer. And when I met Ceci, when you meet Ceci, you immediately realize you're dealing with someone who's special.
Her ability to help others keeps her very much in the moment. And although she multitasks like no one I've ever seen, she stays very centered in the moment. You know how nowadays, no matter where you go, somebody's on their cell phone and not really paying attention to what's going on around them. Cecilia is never that person.
What I think drives Ceci is her sense of fairness and justice in almost everything she does. It oozes from her. Whenever we talk about an issue, it always comes back to the core on how is that fair? How does that serve everyone?
You know, one of the things that's difficult for attorneys and organizers and community folks is to make a balance of all the professional with the community, with your own personal life. And I think Ceci's been able to manage, doing this major lawyering that she's done for the Attorney General's office with, creating a family, with, being involved with indigenous communities, and then being on nonprofit boards and working with us to help create curriculum and leadership for our community. So it's amazing the balance that she's been able to teach folks, and I'm certainly learned a lot from her in that area.
What comes across with Cecilia is that she feels grateful for the opportunities that she had, and unlike some people, she wants to share those opportunities and share her knowledge and share her ability to help others.
She had found a need for impoverished people in Mexico that needed legal representation. And Ceci was explaining to us how she went to the United Nations, obtained funding, set up a program from scratch, and then went to Mexico, to places that didn't have running water, electricity. I remember her telling us she got there by boat, and then implemented the program. And I remember thinking, this is exactly the type of person that I want to personally work with.
I think it's a combination of acts that I'm most proud of for Ceci, and being that Everything that I've seen her do professionally revolves around justice and seeking justice and fairness. And not only for Mexican Americans, for everybody.
There's very few people you meet in life that are able to, just wed the passion for social justice with a strong professional demeanor, and at the same time just, volunteer and just be part of society, be committed to family. That's just something that, whether you're Latino or not Latino, it's an outstanding model for the rest of society. In these days where it's very difficult to get people engaged and interested in civic participation, people are sometimes apathetic or cynical. To meet someone like Ceci is just a breath of fresh air, and I'm just really proud of her for doing all the work that she certainly deserves this award.
Before you come to the stage, Cecilia, I just met Cecilia's husband, by the way. She's been talking to me about her husband for years, right? But I just met him. Can you believe that? And I was telling him that Cecilia has always been there for me. When the foreclosure crisis came on, Cecilia, I need your help. We need to inform our audience. Enrique, come in. When Luisa Echeverria, our wonderful director of communications, who is here, by the way, let's give Luisa a big round of applause. When she asked Cecilia, can you join us for a town hall meeting to talk about all these issues that our community needs information on? She was the first one to be there and the last one to leave, answering questions to all the people that attended those town halls. Cecilia, I know that, like you said, you couldn't say no to Univision, right? But you didn't say no to me. And I consider you my friend, and it's an honor and a privilege for me on behalf of MALDEF to present to you this wonderful excellence award. So please come to the stage so everybody can hear from you. And I want to hear that applause. Come on.
Well, in case anyone was wondering, my 3-year-old talking about multitasking. Yes, the pull-up was just not working for her, so. First of all, I want to say thank you, to MALDEF for honoring me with their Excellence in Legal Service Award. Public service is extremely rewarding, but, it can sometimes be a thankless job. But I also love the fact that the premier Latino civil rights organization actually awards and recognizes attorneys for their legal service, when I think it's MALDEF that deserves all of the recognition. Yeah, seriously. I think they're the ones they're the trailblazers, right? And also, my employer, the Attorney General, who, if she didn't care so much about consumers, I wouldn't have a job. So it's because of her drive, because of her, her need to make things right for consumers who are defrauded, that, our bureau exists and I have a job. And of course, my colleagues who, they're just the best. It's a very collegial environment. Everybody helps each other out. And of course, my family who've given me life. They're my foundation, my support, and I think they should stand up and they deserve the applause. They're at table 14. And it's interesting, like, you don't really think about the things. You're like, oh, people don't do this. A lot of people don't do public service because it's sexy, right? You go into public service because you think, man, like, this world is just jacked up sometimes. And people are just out there trying to get over somebody, And it's just like, really, really, like, if you applied yourself to do something, like, you would be a better person. And so that's why it's important for me when, people contact the government office that they don't get the brush off, or, as a daughter of immigrants, it's important for me that when people contact our office, that they know that government is working for them, that they're not going to get brushed off, that someone's going to listen to them, and that someone is going to try and do something for them, even if it's just a referral to another agency or to, a nonprofit, or, I've referred people to Latinas Mujeres en Acción. I used to work a lot with Ana Fremont at the Resurrection Project. And, it's a collaborative effort. It's many moving parts. Not one entity is better than the other, and not one entity can function without the other. So again, thank you very much for the award. I should say I can't say that I'm speechless, because I'm never speechless. I don't know of a lawyer who is. But again, thank you. I'm honored. Thank
You told me that your family is here, right? Where's your mom and dad? Or your?
They're all on table 4.
Can you come with me really quick? Come on, Ceci. You thought I was gonna let you off the hook? I don't think so. Let's face to the camera so everybody can see you. Señor, vamos a poner a las damas en medio, ¿verdad? Para no ser grosero. Señor, si puede ver por allá. ¿Inglés o español o francés?
Español.
Okay. Señor, su nombre. A ver.
Mi hija y yo somos la única que hablamos francés.
Ah, perdón. Excuse-moi, mademoiselle. Señor, su nombre completo.
Manuel Abundis.
¿Qué significa para usted ver a su hija ya realizada recibir un reconocimiento más?
Es lo más bonito de mi vida.
It's the most beautiful thing in my life.
Es la primera mujer en mi familia que tiene su licencia, su licenciatura. De nada.
Cecilia, your dad is saying that you were the first in the family to get a college degree.
Yeah.
Sí, es la primera que llegó a la universidad.
Para terminar, so we can wrap this up, what is the recipe to have a very successful son, daughter? ¿Cuál es la receta? Pásenosla, por favor.
Pues siempre guiarla y pues que haga lo mejor por medio de Dios, por medio de la familia y pues su disposición que siempre tiene para los que necesitan ayuda, como en la iglesia, en los hospitales y todo.
Always be there for them, and of course having family, God, and helping the community, it's always a big plus. ¿Algo que le quiera decir ya para terminar?
Perdón.
¿Algo que le quiera decir a Ceci ahorita que la tiene enfrente?
Pues que ese es mi amor de mi vida.
The love of my life. Gracias, señor. Thank you very much. Wonderful. Tom, do you see why I love to MC the Maldive Gala event? These moments are priceless, right? This is what we live for. Excellent. Let's give Cecilia another round of applause, please. Thank you. All right. Very well. Are we ready for the second honoree? Let me recover. That was very touchy. That was nice. Congratulations, Ceci. Well deserved. Well deserved. Well, if you love Ceci, you're also going to love our next honoree. It is my honor to introduce our award recipient for Maldives Excellence in Community Service Award, the incredible, okay, and I want to highlight the incredible Raul Raimundo. Give it up for Raul. I'm sure you all know this, but just in case, I'm going to say it. Raul is the Chief Executive Officer and co-founder of the Resurrection Project. It has been under his leadership that the Resurrection Project has been able to seamlessly blend community development, community organizing, human service delivery, and advocacy to build more vibrant and significantly healthier and involved communities. Since the Resurrection Project exists, Raul has helped the Resurrection Project leverage more than $300 million in community reinvestment. Come on, that's right, give it up. That's not easy. All to serve more than 10,000 individuals, create 550 affordable homes, and develop more than 150,000 square feet of space to meet a variety of community needs, including a charter high school and family day centers, which we all agree are very much needed. Raul has served as the chair for the Archdiocese of Chicago Catholic School Board, the Chicago Metropolitan Agency for Planning, and at the national level, believe it or not, He has also served as a board chairman for the National Association of Latino Asset Builders and the Self-Help Federal Credit Union. Raul's influence, without a doubt, and vision have been instrumental in creating a positive change in the lives of all Chicago citizens. So let's take a look at another video that we put together, or Maldev kindly put together for Raul.
When I met Raul, he showed a very strong interest in doing something for the community. And we in the parishes in Pilsen were really looking for a way in which we could organize among ourselves to respond to the needs in the community. And Raul's the one who stepped up.
There was a certain charisma about him that appealed to me, but I think his mannerism of not talking about himself, instead talking about what he had in mind in terms of Resurrection Project and where it was headed, what it could do for the community, was what really impressed me about Raul.
There's a lot of acts that Raul has accomplished that I'm proud, but I think the most recent one that I'm most proud of was his acquisition of the St. Paul Federal Savings Branches, which it takes a lot of gumption to negotiate with the head of a large community bank like Wintrust, and some folks organized to try to save people from foreclosure. Raul went out and bought a bank and was able to save thousands of families and the community around them in terms of that sort of major deal for the community.
I think at the end of the day, no matter what he's done in the community, what's most important to him is what ought to be most important to all of us, is how well are we living life in those roles as a parishioner of our local church, as a parent, as a son, as a father, as a husband. And while I can talk about all the things I know he's done in the community, I watch him in that role, and I think, yes, he's got it down.
Raul has taught me many things. One thing is that there are no enemies, and that the people that you may disagree with, in the end, they could become allies. That we have to continue to talk and reach out to one another and find points of agreement where we can join forces and work for the common good.
He doesn't talk about himself. He doesn't talk about his accomplishments. He talks about, I've got this idea which I think can make an impact in the community. I've got this other idea which I think can help this segment of the community. What do you think? So it's always outward focused, never inward focused. And I think that's very commendable for somebody who has a level of prominence that he has.
I actually met with him recently and said I learned a lot about being an executive director. One, taking risks. Two, it's about building the organization and having an impact. And three, that faith and values should really align with the work you do in life.
Raul's a phenomenal human being. He's had a tremendous impact in my life. I know so many others, leaders of local parishes, staff that's worked with him, people that have served on the boards with him. I think they would, if given the same opportunity to say something to him, they would say thank you as well, because Raul, wherever he's at, makes a meaningful impact on people's lives.
And Raul, before you come to the stage, I got something for you too. On behalf of Univision, we really want to thank you, because whether it is DACA, financial education, Proyecto La Casa, FAFSA workshops, you name it, Resurrection Project is always there for us. So we want to thank you and congratulate you on this Excellence in Community Service Award. Why don't you join us on stage? Let me hear that applause,
Gracias, Enrique, y gracias a todos esta noche por este honor. I'm truly honored to and humbled accepting this award, particularly because of where it's coming from, MALDAF, an organization that I'm familiar with for many years, dating back to the lawsuit that took place in this city that led to the empowerment of Latinos, if you will, more and more. So it means a lot. I want to thank my staff, my board, because this award is not about me. It's about the people that I work with on a daily basis that make this happen and make it possible for me to receive this award, if you will. My wife was here. I want to thank her because she puts up with me countless of nights out of the house, away from the children. And without her unconditional support, I can't do this. To all the partners of MALDAF, to all the organizations, to my colleagues that are on the video, to the fellow awardees, not just today, but the past. This is, I think, Tom, my 5th or 6th event of MALDAF annually, and every time I see the Community Excellence awardees, I'm now proud to be one of those, along with the past and my fellow awardees here, Cecilia and Maria, as well. This year, the Resurrection Project is celebrating 25 years anniversary, and we are launching a new vision, new mission for the 2020. If I could summarize it in one sentence, is that we are going to do more in the next 5 years than in the last 25, because more needs to be done for our community. And not just among ourselves, because there's a lot of challenges in our communities, and I think by working together, we can really begin to elevate our community. I know I'm preaching to the choir here, but I want to be able to emphasize that we are at a critical moment in our society here in this country with the whole issue of immigration reform. And just, again, as I'm preaching to the choir, just want to point out a couple of things. Just a recent study just came out that is actually a conservative think tank called the American Action Forum that documented that if we only do enforcement or deportation of undocumented individuals, it'll cost this country $400 to $600 billion over the next 20 years. That same study concludes that the GDP economy will be dropping by $1.6 trillion. I don't know about you, but this state is in a financial crisis. $400 to $600 billion will be spent in education, in affordable housing, in domestic violence programs, and all sorts of things to lift up our community. That is an incredible fact that I think we all need to use, because it's coming from it is the case against Republicans, if you will, for being against immigration reform. I know I'm preaching to the choir, but we all got to arm ourselves moving forward and making sure, because these next 2 years are going to be a battleground. Whatever happens in 2016 is going to be determined by what we do today, not in 2016. We can react, we should organize, and make sure that we make the changes that are necessary for our community here. So again, I want to thank everyone, and thank you for this wonderful award. Looking forward to working with all of you. Thank you.
Señora María Luisa, ya sabía que venía para acá, ni modo de que no. ¿Dónde está su suegra? Híjoles, ahí sí no le puedo ayudar. Hágame un favorcito. Sí, vamos a darle un aplauso a la señora María Luisa para que se pare. Venga, señora, venga. Párese aquí conmigo, yo le digo. Raúl, ven para acá. Sí, las damas en medio, ¿eh? Lo reitero una vez más. Y volteando hacia allá para que la cámara los vea. ¿Qué es lo más difícil de estar casada? Espérenme, let me finish. What is the most difficult thing of being married to such a great leader like your husband?
Nunca levanta sus calcetines del piso. I don't care that you're saving the world, that you're putting Latinos on the forefront. Pick up your socks.
Dicen que detrás de un gran hombre hay una gran mujer.
Levantando los calcetines.
Levantando los calcetines, ok. Bueno, aparte de levantar los calcetines, ¿qué es lo que usted ha hecho para que su esposo sea tan sobresaliente?
I just support him in everything that he does. I believe in his missions, and I think that what he gives to the world is just something that's valuable enough to support.
What would you like to tell him?
I love you, sweetie.
That's all. Thank you. Un aplauso, por favor. Congratulations once again. Unbelievable. See, I told you, if you didn't know our honorees, you would get to know them tonight. So here we are. Are we ready for one more? Yes? We are going to have to wait. Let me ask you something. How many of you, and I want you to be very honest, okay? How many of you are big fans of Maldives? Raise your hand. Come on, I need everybody raising your hand. Come on, everybody. Do you consider yourself to be a true fan of Maldives? A ver si es cierto. Al ratito les voy a hacer otra pregunta, okay? Okay, so I'm going to leave you thinking about what I just did. You'll see why later on. I need everyone's undevoted attention. How many of you have a phone? Come on, you can't be lying to me. Everybody's got a phone. Okay. Remember that I asked you early on if you were a true Maldives fan? Yes, you remember? All right, this is your chance to prove it. Let me explain to you why. As you know, Maldives' fight for justice wouldn't be possible without the support of a community that understands the value of it. Wouldn't you agree? Yes? Okay, so what Maldives is asking you tonight is to join the fight. Do you want to know how? Yes? By making a kind contribution. Now, you might be saying, oh, I don't want to pull out. I forgot my checkbook. Don't worry, we got you. And you don't need a stimulus package either. This is very simple. Okay, what you need to do, and I'm going to ask all our wonderful group of the technicians to put the instructions on the screen. Here we go. You need to go to send a text, and you need to send the text to the number 41444. So everyone, I need you to take your phone out, please, and put the number 41444. The word that you're going to type is Maldives. Space, the amount with a money sign before the amount that you want to contribute to join the fight, and very important, your name. Okay? Who is the first one to do this? Raise your hand. I want to know who is the first one, because once you send it, your name will appear on the screen, and I want to know who you are. No, I will not ask you if you pick up your socks or not. I promise. All right, so who is the first one to send the message? I need to know. And let me explain to you why. Can we put the thermometer on the screen? Here's what I need your help, and I'm sure you're not going to let me down. We have a thermometer that is really cold right now. Very cold. There it is. You see this? That's right. I want that applause to turn into a contribution. It's red. Don't pay attention to the gold, because we want to raise more than that, okay? So we need that thermometer to go up. Okay, can we see? Is there any way that we can see the names of the people on one screen and keep the thermometer on the other? Kathy, who is Kathy? Where are you? Kathy, let's give Kathy a big round of applause as we show the rest of the names. Kathy, can you please stand up? And I want you to face the camera so everybody sees you. Let me help you with a chair. Kathy, where are you from here in Chicago?
I am here with Cecilia Abundis. I work for another government agency, but here in Chicago.
Well, listen, thank you so very much. Why did you decide to join the fight?
Because of all the work that Ceci's done, she's taking me down to Chiapas. We've seen the work she's done there. We've seen the work she's done here for people in housing and things like that. So it's been really great.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Let's give her another round of applause. Patty, where is Patty Green? Patty Green. Oh, Patty. I knew you were here. I knew I was in the right area, right? Why don't you stand there, Patty? For how long have you known about Maldives?
Oh, gosh. Long time.
Long time.
Long time.
What does it mean for you to join the fight?
I think it means doing the right thing and helping people continue the great work they're doing.
Well, thank you very much for your kindness and for your contribution, okay? Let's give Patty another round of applause. Marlene Cortez Morris. Where are you, Marlene? Oh, Marlene is right over there. You know what? This is the perfect time to do some exercise, right after dinner. All right. Marlene, can you please... Marlene, es que ya se me pegó el acento inglés, tú sabes. ¿Qué le vamos a hacer? Marlene, ven para acá, Marlene. ¿Desde cuánto conoces a Maldev?
Como más de 7 años, creo. Sí.
¿Qué te motivó a ayudarnos en esta lucha?
Yo empecé a ayudar a Maldev como un abogado pro bono a tomar un caso de educación.
¿Vienes con alguna firma de abogados?
Yo trabajo en Chen Cohen, que es una firma de abogados aquí en la ciudad.
Muy bien. Pues gracias por tu tiempo y tu donativo. ¿Ok? Un aplauso, por favor, para Marlene. Vamos a ver, Chris. Necesitamos un hombre. Chris, where are you, Chris? No, Chris? Chris? Oh, Chris, my colleague from Univision. All right. Un aplauso para Chris, por favor. Come on, Chris. Hola, ¿cómo estás, Chris? Tell everybody how long you've been at Univision in radio and TV.
3 years.
What do you like the most about Univision?
You.
Liar. Okay. Why is it important for you to join the fight?
Well, you definitely want to give back to the community. I think we all work hard to support, and it's the least I can do.
Okay, Chris, thank you so much, buddy. You wouldn't know that he's a sales agent, right? Right? He's good, I'm telling you. All right. Juan Salgado. Ay, jole, Juanito. Where are you, Juan? I happen to see your name. There it is. Juanito, ahí está tu nombre, so I need you here for a second, looking at the camera. What Maldev means to you?
Power for our community.
What else?
El poder cambiar nuestra circunstancia.
Gracias por tu donativo. Un aplauso a Juan, por favor. Abad Lopez. Abad Lopez, where are you? Am I pronouncing your name right? Did I say it right? Or you go Abad? Abad. Okay. How did you know about Maldev?
Soy abogado, ha hecho cosas con la organización por mucho tiempo, muchos años.
¿Por qué crees que es importante contribuir a la causa?
Bueno, la comunidad hispana tiene unas necesidades como muy grandes que los abogados le pueden ayudar en esas cosas y yo pienso que ellos están en un espacio muy importante para la comunidad.
Muy bien. Abad, muchas gracias por tu donativo. Un aplauso para él. ¿Tenemos más nombres? Now, don't pay attention to the thermometer, okay? It's a lot taller than that. Okay, so I don't want you to think that we're done. Juana Barrera, where are you, Juana? Right over there. Okay, let me go with Juana. Oh, tú me encuentras, qué linda. Let's give Juana a round of applause. Yes, of course. What would you tell anyone in the audience who hasn't sent a text message to join the fight?
Well, I would encourage all my in-house colleagues that there is a responsibility that we hold as people who have greater opportunity financially to contribute to those that go forward in the community. So I urge you all to please send a text. It's very easy, and it's my small way of contributing for the work that you all do, so thank you.
Thank you for leading by example. Okay, we truly appreciate it. All right, let's see. Luis Avila. Traes porra, Luis. How are you, Luis? Let's give Luis a big round of applause, everybody. And while I talk to Luis, the instructions are on the screen, so in case you forgot how to send a text message to join the fight, there it is. It's very simple. Since when do you know about Maldev?
I think I've known about it since I was in high school. I actually went to law school with the hopes of working at Maldev. I kind of achieved that dream. I worked there for a summer. Realized I wasn't a litigator, so I didn't end up doing that type of work, but very grateful that I got the experience too.
So you understand the fight.
Yes, I do. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Juan, un aplauso para él, por favor. Patricia Garza, ¿dónde estás, Pati? Where are you, Patricia? Oh, Patricia, I was just talking to you during the lunch break. Si se pone de pie, por favor, Patricia. Muy bien. ¿De dónde viene? ¿De qué organización?
Oh, yo represento a la Fundación de Allstate.
Ok, muy bien. ¿Y a quién está apoyando hoy?
A nuestra comunidad.
¿Y alguno de los ganadores del premio aquí haya venido a apoyar?
A todos los tres.
A los tres, muy bien dicho. ¿Por qué es importante para usted hacer este donativo?
Porque tenemos nosotros la responsabilidad de apoyar a nuestra comunidad, uno tras otro.
¿Qué le dice a los que no lo han hecho para motivarlos?
Pues, ¿qué esperan?
No lo pudo haber dicho mejor. Gracias. Un fuerte aplauso para usted. How are we doing? You know, we're getting stuck on that number so far. Bertina Lampkin. Oh, wonderful. Let's give Bertina a big round of applause. You're looking wonderful tonight, Bertina. How did you know about Maldiv?
I was invited by an attorney who used to work in my courtroom.
Who is that attorney?
Federico.
Federico, gracias por traerla. Now, you have a lovely name. What's the meaning of your name? You happen to know?
It's my grandmother's name. I don't know.
That makes it even more special. Well, thank you for joining the fight. We truly appreciate it.
Let me just say this. I think to whom much is given, much is required, and everybody here has been blessed, and we need to share. We are our brother's keeper.
It goes back to the basics, right? Since we were kids, we were taught to share. It's as simple as that. Thank you. Very well said. How are we doing? Elinor Ochoa. Elinor? ¿Ya se fue? He left? She left? Elinor, o no quiere hablar? Elinor, how are we doing on the thermometer? Let me see, please. Okay. Let's see if we can reach. Say that again. 5,000? Oh, I didn't say it. Okay. Who said 5,000? A ver. Otro aplauso, por favor, para el señor. Otro aplauso. Patty. You see how ambitious Latinos are, right? We like to get it done and we do it right, correct?
Right. There is no reason why in this room tonight we could not give $5,000 in support of Allstate. I mean, of Maldiv. Sorry. Of Maldiv. There's no reason in the world why in this room tonight we cannot give $5,000 in support of Maldiv.
Like they say, you're in good hands with Patty, right? That's phenomenal. Well said. Thank you. How are we doing? Is it getting any better? Oh, my goodness. We're doing good. Let's see. ¿Quién más? Viviana Martinez. Where is Viviana? Oh, let me go back to my favorite table so far. Viviana. How are you, Viviana? Can we look at the camera and smile? How are you?
Wonderful, thank you.
Are you having a good time?
Having a great time.
Is there any part of this program so far that has inspired you? Yes, no, and why?
Yes. Cecilia. Cecilia is a true inspiration. You know, as a Latina attorney coming up, I started at the AG's office myself, and I heard of her like a legend, right? And now I work for President Prakwinkle, and I continue to hear about Cecilia Bundes, and it was so great to hear you speak tonight, you know. And the values that you stand for, family, justice, service, are things that we can all relate to, not only as supporters of MALDEF, but as attorneys in this incredibly privileged profession. So thank you.
Beautiful words. Thank you so much for joining the fight. We continue fighting, everybody. Let me see. Oh, we're kind of stuck. Cheryl Wisniewski. Cheryl. Where are you, Cheryl? My other favorite table, number 7 and 21 so far. Cheryl, smile to the camera. Your message for people who still have not joined the fight.
My message is to donate. I think, like Patricia said, everybody in here, there's no reason we can't get to $5,000, at least $5,000.
All right, well, thank you very much, Cheryl. Un aplauso para Cheryl, por favor. How are we doing? And look, the night is not over, okay? So we will continue with the program. However, I want you to continue sending your text. And I'm going to ask our group of technicians, if you don't mind, right after our next award, if we can check how we're doing on the thermometer. ¿Ok? Deal? You got it. Thank you so much. Un aplauso para los técnicos, por favor. Okay, are we ready for our next honoree? Yes. Our final award goes to a person whose work has been transformative for Latinas, Latinos, and the entire city of Chicago. Since 2000, Maria Pesqueira. That's right, let me hear from Maria. I'm telling you, Maria is a go-getter. She has served as president and CEO of Mujeres Latinas en Acción. I'm also a big fan, I have to confess. One of the longest standing Latina human service organizations in the nation. Yes, give it up for Mujeres Latinas en Acción. Ustedes no están para saberlo ni yo para contarlo, but under her leadership, Mujeres received the prestigious Orba Award for Nonprofit Financial Management Excellence. Prior to this, as Director of Development for the National Museum of Mexican Art, Maria started and grew the museum's resource development office and completed its $7.5 million capital and endowment campaign. That's a lot of money, right? With over 2 decades of experience in the human service arena, Maria has brought an expert perspective to Mujeres Latinas en Acción and the Chicago nonprofit community, and has worked to address issues that range from private nonprofit partnerships, women's issues, health disparities, and much more. I don't want to say any much more. Let's look at Maria's video.
First impression of Maria del Socorro Pesqueira was, I want to be around her anytime, all the time, because she brings so much joy, so much energy, so much love to the room when she's there. It's the kind of thing that draws you to someone and says, this is someone that I wanna be a friend with. I want to get to know. I want to be able to be around her and collaborate and work with her and be a part of her dreams, because she's got amazing, amazing dreams for the future, for our community as a whole.
I think what's special about Maria is she acts, she's grounded in her values about why she does this work, and that's very clear in her leadership, in how she runs her organization, in the partnerships that she develops. And when people meet Maria, they know that she's a genuine person, right? And people follow her because of that, because she's tied to what she believes in and acts out of her values.
What I've learned from Maria is not to give up, and that one person can make a difference, because I see how much of a difference she makes in both the community that Mujeres Latinas en Acción is serving, but also among her staff, and as a leader of that staff in developing them and in helping them understand their potential. And she's been such a great energizing force for the board as well, and really has taught us a lot about what we can do, how we can ensure that Mujeres is around for a long, long time, helping our community.
Anytime there's a challenge that we may be facing, I look around the room and make sure that Maria is in the room because I know that challenge is going to be dealt with. And it's not just going to be dealt with practically. It's going to be dealt with holistically.
I think what drives Maria is both the challenges our community faces and the potential we have. I think she's just very focused on supporting women, empowering women, and helping our community reach its potential.
I think the legacy that Maria's building is the role that Mujeres Latinas en Acción plays in many issues impacting Chicago and women and children in Illinois. And so it's transcended not just the issues and programs that Mujeres cares about, but also the issues that impact all Illinoisans. And so I think her contribution is saying, you know, these are issues that, you know, affect everyone, and this is the role that Mujeres can play inside of that.
You have to have a pillar. You have to have a foundation. And I think that's what makes Maria really a unique human being, uniquely positioned to be the most effective leader of an organization like Mujeres Latinas.
And Maria, before you come to the stage, I want to let you know that since I was a little kid, mi mamá me decía, and I'm going to say it in Spanish because that's exactly how she said it. Mijo, a las mujeres se les quiere, se les respeta y se les cuida como una reina. ¿Verdad? And so I just want to let you know that I cannot appreciate anymore all the wonderful job that you're doing at Mujeres Latinas en Acción to fight, among other things, domestic violence prevention. It's really, you're doing a phenomenal job. And on this same stage, where not too long ago, I was privileged to be the first male MC ever in the history of the Mujeres Latinas en Acción conference. And I'm proud of that. That's right. My mom was here, by the way, and she was very proud. It is my honor and my privilege to congratulate you and give you this award on behalf of Malta.
Bueno, gracias, Enrique. Thank you very much. And thank you to Maldef. Thank you, Tom. Thank you to all of you for being here this evening. It is quite an honor to be here. I recall many years ago and seeing this award, the Maldef Community Excellence Award, in Carlos Tortolero's living room, and saying, wow, he was honored by Maldef in such a prestigious award. And so to me, I'm completely honored to receive this amongst some amazing other awardees, but also to have some past awardees here, including some folks like Carlos. So thank you. I would also like to thank my husband, AKA my viejo, David, and my mijo, David Olin, for supporting me over the years. I wouldn't be able to do the community work without their support. And of course, the work that we do at Mujeres Latinas en Acción would not be possible without an amazing governing board and tireless and fearless staff. I'd like to give you all, really this award is thanks is to the great team that we have here. Thank you so much. I've had the privilege of working in community for close to 25 years now. In these 25 years, I've come to witness firsthand that if you strengthen a woman, you strengthen her family, and she strengthens her community. Women build a stronger nation, one community at a time. When I think of excellence in community, I cannot help but think of the many mujeres I've come to know that have strengthened families and communities. I can share with you many stories of women who've overcome crisis and hardships for the benefit of their families, but I only have a few minutes, so I will only share with you the story of a woman who has influenced me since my birth, mi mamá. Mi mama's not here today. She's in Uriangato, but her photo is up earlier. She is number 7 of 10 children. Her name is Margarita. She, being the seventh of 10 children, and none of her sisters, except for the men in her family, were allowed to pursue an education, even though she was always a walking calculator and a natural with numbers. She came to this country alongside her husband with just a 6th grade education, no English, and leaving her only daughter behind, me, at the time for a better future for her familia. She looked for work, and one of the first 4 hire signs that she saw happened to be at a factory seeking a welder. So she applied, and soon she learned how to weld. At that job, she learned through some friends that Reynolds Aluminum was hiring, and she and some female co-workers applied. She became one of the first women laborers here in the Midwest to work at Reynolds Aluminum. And while there, she heard that there was another job opening as a metal inspector. This would mean a better pay and only requiring her to pass a federal license test. What did I, at that point, you know, she came and she come home with this manual and she said, "Here, tradúcemelo, por favor." Okay, what did I know about positive and negative conductivity at that time while I was a sophomore in college? This is pre-internet and pre-Mr. Google days. And so, yes, I found some of my science major friends to help me translate. That was my community to help. She passed that test, and years later, I'm helping her organize some things around the house, some documents, and you know, through the paperwork that I find a photo. It was a photo of her wearing safety glasses and a safety hat. And so, standing next to this tall Anglo man, I ask her, "Ma, ¿quién es ese señor?" She replies, "Un astronauta, quien voló un shuttle, con el metal que yo inspeccioné." Wow, I was stunned. My mother helped a man get to space and back. But the story does not end here. I was recently appointed to the National Women's History Museum Commission, and that day, and the day after Mother's Day, I'm sitting next to Dr. Ellen Ochoa, who was receiving an award that day. Dr. Ochoa was the first Latina and Mexican American to go out into space. I tell her the same story before she goes up to receive the award. There are all these photos as she's up there, she's receiving this award, and all these photos are behind her, telling her story of her community through the years. Her with her siblings, her classmates, grammar school, and grad school, and then a picture with her and her crew. There he was, the astronaut that my mom helped get into space. He was part of her crew. So ladies and gentlemen, my mom, mi mamá, my community helped get that astronaut into space. And quite possibly with that first Latina to go into space. So you tell me now, can we not shoot for the stars as a community? I think we can. My mama has showed me. Thank you.
Before you sit down, Maria, I need to talk to you and your lovely... Let me talk to your viejo. ¿Verdad? A ver, primero, ¿por qué viejo?
La barba.
La barba. Es de cariño, ¿no? Es de cariño. Como le decimos nosotros, el Flintstone Love, right?
Es de cariño.
All right. A ver, señor viejo, ¿qué significa para usted el ver a su esposa? Porque así como detrás de un hombre hay una gran mujer, también detrás de una gran mujer hay un gran hombre, ¿sí o no? Oh, un aplauso para él, por favor. Behind a great woman, there's also a great man. So what does it mean for you to see your wife, with all the success she's accomplished, to yet get another award, a very special one?
Ay. Pues, a ver, de mi corazón, pues es puro amor. Y el amor se traduce pues en lucha para la comunidad, la justicia, la paz. Y mi esposa pues es todo eso y más. Y una otra cosa, nos conocimos en Maldives.
In Maldives? You guys met in Maldives? Really? How did that happen?
Now let her talk.
People want to know if it was first love at sight. Maria, a ver, Maria.
Doris? Yes, okay. Doris.
Is it your fault, Doris? It is her fault. Really? How did that happen, Maria?
So I was going through the Maldives Leadership Development Program soon out of grad school, and I'm going through this program, and I'm part of this team. You know, here are these amazing people who have done all sorts of work on retention and education, and that was part of my team. And so here I am, ready to present my piece on the issue of the pipeline in the school system, and you know, this was pre-internet. And I couldn't find the article. I lost the article, one of the articles that I was going to use for my presentation. And then I remembered there was this guy, David Biscayda at Chicago Tribune. And so I called him, and I said, you know, can you give me a copy of this article? I give him the date, and you know, is there any way you could go? Are there any slides anywhere that you could go grab a copy of? And so he said, sure. And then he's asking me all these questions, and then it turns out he was going to be one of the judges on that panel that evening.
Oops.
Oops is right. So I was kind of scared, and so we went to present, and there he was, and apparently he was asking me lots of questions, which made me more nervous. And I recall Fabio was really upset at him that evening because he said, oye, can anybody else ask questions to anybody else?
Plan con maña, like we say, right?
That's how I remember.
And the rest is history, and then David is your son, right? Yes. Where's David? David, ven para acá, David, córrele. David Olin. Yeah, I love the name. Right next to your mom, looking at the camera. I just want to hear something from you. You have your mom right in front of you. I know she's been a difference maker in your life as well as your dad. What do you want to tell your mom at this very moment?
I mean, at its very base, thank you. She's provided an example for what I and just any other Latino or Latina can become. You have this amazing drive. You motivate me every day. I'd like to say that almost all of my accomplishments are because of you and because of your support. And, you know, come on, finish that task today. And I don't know, thank you so much, Mom. I look up to you, and I mean, I love you.
Like we say, mamá solo hay una, right? Thank you so much, Maria. David, congratulations. Thank you. What a great example. As you can see, Maldives has made a difference in the life of many people. The question is, are you willing to make a difference in the fight of Maldives? Can you put up the thermometer on the screen, please? Oh, my goodness. That's not what I wanted to see. Let's see. Diego Aguilar Fraga. Diego, ¿dónde estás? Where are you, Diego? Oh, ahí nomás decía Diego. O no leí el Tomás. Forgive me for not catching the Tomás. How significant is it for you to contribute? Can you please stand up so we can get you on cam? There you go. We want to make sure that we acknowledge you and for everybody to know who you are. You are so young. What does it mean for you to join the fight with Maldives?
Well, I believe that Maldives supports a great cause, and I want to improve the lives of people who are oppressed in any way, shape, or form. And any way I can do that, monetary or otherwise.
If you don't mind me asking, how old are you?
I am 14.
My respects to you. Congratulations. Is your mom and dad here? Ma'am, can you stand up, please? First of all, I want to let you know that you guys have done a phenomenal job raising your son. Let's give him a round of applause. Ladies are first. Why don't you come right here to the middle? Why don't you? how does it make you feel as a mom? Because, you know, mom and dad, we love our kids, but let's face it, the love of a mom is unique. How does it feel for you to see your son and hear your son saying the words that he just said?
Well, I'm blessed. And I think that's a gift to me to have Tomas in our lives. And his name, Tomas, means a lot to me because there's this man over here named Tomas Sainz, who is the President and Chief Counsel of MALDEF, who's done so much for our community.
Absolutely. Thank you so very much. Sir, your name?
Luis Fraga.
Luis, after watching your son, I can't imagine anyone in this room not joining the fight. But if there's anyone out there in that category who is listening to us right now, what's your message?
Those of us who have had the opportunities to live the opportunities that MALDEF has fought for so many years have an obligation to give back. And this is our opportunity to give back. And we give back in many different ways. We give back with our labor, we give back with our money, but here's an opportunity for those of us who have the chance to do that to give back to MALDEF at this particular event.
Very well. And Tomas, you are a great example that it's never too early to give back. Thank you so much. God bless you all. Thank you for joining the fight. Let me see the thermometer. Okay, we got Luis, we got Viviana. Norma Manjarres. Norma. Is Norma still here? Oh, okay. She took a break. Very well. Jimmy Guru. Jimmy. Is Jimmy here? Jimmy. Jimmy is hiding from us, ¿no? Jimmy, how are you? Muy bien, gracias. Un gusto en conocerlo. El placer es mío. El significado para usted de contribuir a esta causa.
Well, I think the contributions that we're discussing here are really contributions for justice. And we have to remember that justice doesn't happen by itself. It happens through people getting involved. And this is an opportunity for the community to get involved and make justice a reality. So that's what the money's about. I mean, that's the contributions to achieve justice.
Well, thank you very much for your contribution and for joining the fight. Let's give a round of applause to everybody that is joining this wonderful fight. And, you know, we're talking about making justice. Well, I think that's one of the many ways that we can describe our next speaker. Should I continue on this one? Is that good? Well, I have the honor now, even though he doesn't need any introduction, to present to you a leader who has dedicated his life's work to advancing the rights of Latinos in our country. And he is one of our nation's most respected and experienced civil rights lawyers. And he is responsible, in case you don't know, for many of MALDEF's renowned settlements and courtroom victories on behalf of the Latino community. So please, I want to make sure, I know he's been in Chicago before, but I want to make sure that you show Mr. Tom Sainz how Chicagoans welcome a Latino pride.
Thank you. Thank you, Enrique. Thank you, everyone, for being with us tonight. I think it has been a truly inspiring and enjoyable evening. Certainly, I have been inspired not only by those who have come to the podium in all of their accomplishments and their inspirational words, but also by so many of you out in the audience tonight. Let me begin by thanking once more our terrific Master of Ceremonies, who has made this a uniquely enjoyable and participatory evening. Thank you, Enrique Rodriguez, for leading us once more through this tremendous event. And the vast majority of you are here because you know or were contacted by someone who sits on our dinner committee. And they're listed in your program, but I want to acknowledge them as well here tonight. If I could have our dinner committee members, please stand. Thank you for all that you do for MALDEF and for the Latino community. Please stand. This is also an event, so many others, that allows us to reunite with folks who have supported us, who have done work with us, who have built the foundation for what MALDEF is today, over 47 years of existence. We have in the audience board members, both from the past and from the present, and not only because they're my bosses, but because of all the work that they do throughout the year in an ongoing way. Please, board members, stand and thank you for your commitment to MALDEF. Board members, past and present. This is also an occasion that brings together so many of our past staff members, leaders, regional councils, staff attorneys, support staff, leadership directors. So many of them are here tonight. And I'd like to ask our past staff members, and before I ask you all to stand, I want to acknowledge one, who is our recent regional counsel, who, as you all know, within the last year, Alonso Rivas, left us to go and do critical civil rights work at the Department of Education. And I want you all to know he did that, I believe, because of his deep, deep commitment, not just to civil rights, but to MALDEF itself, and the fact that he simply could not let go of all the important work that MALDEF did and does, and kept it with him 24/7. And I think he decided that he needed a little bit of a break from some of that. But I want to acknowledge Alonso Rivas, who I understand is here or was here, and ask him and all of the other past MALDEF staff members in the audience to please stand. And of course, I want to thank our current staff for all of the work that they do in this region and as national leaders in promoting the critical litigation, policy advocacy, community education, and communications work that we do to promote the civil rights of all Latinos living in the United States. If I could ask them to stand as I read their names. Aron Siebert Yera, Irene Padilla, Jorge Sanchez, Rocio Santos, and Veronica Cortez. Please join me in acknowledging them for their work and their sacrifice. And I, of course, want to thank the staff and their team from Los Angeles that put together and coordinated this evening, making it so much of a success. Cynthia Gutierrez Alvarez, Stephanie Loera, Jose Delgado, and the others on the team that put this tremendous event together. Thank you very much. And of course, finally, I want to acknowledge and thank our really extraordinary honorees, not only for their work through years and years on behalf of the Latino community and the cause of progress and justice, but for allowing us to celebrate them this evening, for joining us with their family and friends, and for sharing their words of wisdom, beginning with the wise and energetic Cecilia Abundis. Thank you. Visionary and committed Raul Raimundo. And I might know, we now understand from the table that he's now committed to picking up his socks. And of course, the inspiring and intrepid won't stop until she gets out into space. Maria Pesquera, thank you. We live in times of great irony in the civil rights world. This year, 2015, we will commemorate and have begun commemorating the 50th anniversary of so many singular civil rights legislative achievements, like the Voting Rights Act of 1965, which has changed the landscape of political power throughout the nation, like the Elementary and Secondary Education Act, whose investment over the last 50 years in education equity has made it possible for so many of us to achieve the dreams that we share with our parents and ancestors. And this fall, the 50th anniversary of the Immigration Act of 1965. Like so many of these civil rights achievements, something that took steps forward, but also was an incomplete achievement because of the difficulties that it continues to present as it restricts the ability of immigrants from certain nations like Mexico to immigrate as easily as those from other countries. The irony is that with each of these celebrations, we see elected officials from both sides coming together in Washington and outside of Washington to celebrate what happened 50 years ago. At the same time that those leaders are utterly incapable of taking even a single step forward on any of the continuing challenges of civil rights today. It is as though these leaders believe that the garden of civil rights is a sculpture garden, that they can enter when they wish, bow down to carved icons that will not threaten them, that will not ask anything of them, that will remain static and unchanging. They do not recognize that we demand more of them than celebration and commemoration. We demand their recognition of the continuing obligation to recognize that that garden of civil rights is a living and growing orchard that requires them and us to continually engage in planting, pruning, shaping, grafting, changing what that garden of civil rights looks like to serve our better aims and our better needs in this country. We, outside of Washington, D.C., in the Latino community, as representatives for many, many years of the largest minority group in the nation, but not only that, as the community that has had a decisive impact on all of the most recent critical national elections in this country. But not only that, as members of a community with roots in this nation that go back to prior to its existence, its founding, that extend through years and years, including the last 50 years of struggle, of sacrifice, of tenacious advocacy to seek an America that is truer to its founding principles. But not only that, as a community that values family, that values initiative, that values the importance of humanity in our policy. But not only that, the Latino community as the leader in ensuring that that growing civil rights garden is well tended. In our community, we celebrate those in our own community, but so many from outside of our community, and in particular from the African American community, who were so responsible for the efforts that resulted in the achievements 50 years ago of the Voting Rights Act, and the Civil Rights Act, and the Immigration Act, and the Elementary and Secondary Education Act, and the Fair Housing Act, and the list continues. We acknowledge and celebrate those leaders from our community and from other communities that had such a critical role in those achievements. But beyond that, we recognize that our celebration of them, our tribute to them, must be an ongoing, rejuvenated commitment to ensuring the growth of what they planted. In the Latino community, because of the statuses that I've described, we are the caretaker heirs of that civil rights garden. There is no community in this nation with a greater responsibility, given our size and importance, with a greater responsibility to ensure that commemoration is not a dead acknowledgement, but a living recommitment. With respect to the Voting Rights Act, we celebrate what was achieved 50 years ago, and more importantly, we celebrate the inclusion of the Latino community 10 years later in 1975. But we know that the job is not finished. We know that in the aftermath of the Supreme Court's Shelby County decision, we have an obligation to ensure that this Congress or its successor, if we need to change this Congress, or its successor will enact an amendment to the Voting Rights Act to ensure that it continues to serve after the Shelby County decision, that it continues to serve our minority communities, including growing communities like the Latino community. With respect to the Immigration Act, we can acknowledge and celebrate what President Johnson signed at the foot of the Statue of Liberty 50 years ago this fall, while recognizing a continuing obligation to change our immigration system, not just because it is broken and does not serve our better national interests, but because from the beginning in 1965, although it was a step forward, it did not embody the civil rights principles, the progressive humanitarian impulses that are so important to our nation. And with respect to the Elementary and Secondary Education Act, we can acknowledge the importance of a continuing federal investment in public education while knowing that we, in the Latino community comprising over 1/5 and approaching 1/4 of public students nationwide, have an obligation to see through a reauthorization of the Elementary and Secondary Education Act that ensures a continued, if not invigorated, federal commitment to change. In the Latino community, we are the sowers of our own civil rights destiny. And I know that with the commitment of people in this room and beyond, in rooms where we have offices and galas in San Antonio, in Los Angeles, in Washington, D.C., but in rooms in smaller communities with growing Latino populations, in rooms filled with immigrant workers committed to not only bettering their own families, but those of their neighbors, in rooms that are filled with youth who have put their lives on the line to see immigration reform happen. In rooms like those and beyond, in the Latino community, we will sow this nation's civil rights destiny. And MALDEF, at a relatively young 47 years compared to those acts of legislation, through its own continued existence and commitment, demonstrates that we are not a sculpture. We are a moving, dynamic force. Thank you all for being a part of that force. We look forward to continuing to work with you through the next 47 years and beyond to ensure that the legacy of those civil rights achievements of half a century ago are realized, are improved, are made rooted and permanent in our national landscape. Thank you.
Let's give Tom another round of applause, everybody. And you know what? To end this program, I just want to say, Tom, MALDEF has made a difference in one way or another in our lives. You don't know this, but when I was in California, I was a dreamer. I always tell students when I talk to them, I'm a dreamer for life. And when I started my freshman year at the University of California State University in Northridge, Proposition 187 came into place. I lost 7 years in the process for being a dreamer. And it is thanks to the work of MALDEF that students like me were able to finish their education. So thank you very much. Thank you to the sponsors. And thank you for having me MC this wonderful gala once again. Have a good night, everybody. Nos vemos en la tele.